Right now, while you're watching this, you probably have some money sitting in a bank. Maybe a little, maybe a lot. And you think of it as simple, safe. Just your money, resting quietly in your account, waiting for you. But it isn't resting, not even close. At this very moment, the money you believe is sitting in your account is out in the world, working. It's been loaned out. It's earning your bank a fortune. It's building somebody else's house, funding somebody else's business, generating interest and profit by the second. And almost none of that money is coming back to you. For the privilege of holding your cash and using it to get richer, your bank pays you back a sum so small it's almost an insult. Sometimes a fraction of a percent. Sometimes nothing at all. This isn't a crime. It isn't a scandal. It's the quiet, perfectly legal engine humming underneath the entire global economy. And it is, without question, one of the most brilliant money-making machines ever invented.
The strangest part? It was discovered almost by accident hundreds of years ago by men who were never even supposed to be bankers. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how your bank turns your money into its billions, why the cash in your account isn't really there at all, and the hard lessons that can flip you from being the one who's used to the one who understands the game. Let's get into it. To see the trick, you have to go back, centuries back, to a time before banks as we know them even existed. And the heroes of this story aren't bankers at all, they're goldsmiths. Picture Europe hundreds of years ago. If you were wealthy, your wealth was gold. Heavy, gleaming, and absolutely terrifying to own, because gold is the easiest thing in the world to steal. You couldn't exactly hide a fortune under the mattress and sleep soundly. So where could you keep it safe? The answer was the goldsmith. Goldsmiths worked with precious metals all day, which meant they already owned the one thing everyone else desperately needed: big, strong, secure vaults. So people started bringing their gold to the local goldsmith and asking him to store it. And in return, the goldsmith would hand them a little paper note, a receipt, promising that the holder could come back anytime and claim their gold. Simple enough. You give the goldsmith your gold, he gives you a paper note. Your gold sits safe in his vault. Everyone's happy. But then, something fascinating started to happen, something that would quietly change the world forever. People realized that lugging heavy gold around to make purchases was a pain. But those paper receipts? Light, easy, trustworthy. So instead of going to the vault, withdrawing their gold, and handing it over to a merchant, people just started trading the paper notes themselves. Why bother moving the gold at all, when you could simply hand someone a note that says, "This gold is yours now"? The merchant could always go claim the real gold later, if he ever wanted to. And here's the thing, he almost never wanted to. The paper was just easier. So the gold mostly just sat in the vault, untouched, while the paper notes circulated around town doing all the actual work of money. Now picture the goldsmith. He's sitting on top of a vault absolutely stuffed with everyone else's gold. And he notices something extraordinary. On any given day, only a tiny handful of people ever actually come in to withdraw their real gold. The vast majority of it just sits there, day after day, year after year, doing nothing. And that's the moment the lightning strikes. The goldsmith has a thought so simple and so profound that it would go on to build the entire modern financial world. If almost nobody ever comes to collect their gold all at once, then why am I letting all this gold just sit here? What if I quietly lent some of it out and charged interest on it? So that's exactly what he did. He started loaning out the gold that other people had trusted him to store, gold that wasn't his, and he charged the borrowers interest for it. The depositors had no idea. Their notes still said their gold was safe in the vault. And technically, enough gold was in the vault to cover the few who'd ever show up to withdraw. So nobody noticed a thing. The goldsmith was earning interest on money that didn't belong to him. Sit with how audacious that is for a second. He took no visible risk. He created nothing. He simply sat between the people who had gold and the people who wanted gold, and quietly charged a toll for standing in the middle. The depositors thought he was doing them a favor by guarding their treasure. In reality, they were handing him the raw material for a fortune and thanking him for the privilege.
The genius was never the vault. The genius was realizing that trust itself could be rented out, over and over, without anyone ever seeing the gold actually move. And then he got even bolder. He realized he didn't even need to lend out real, physical gold. He could just write more notes. New paper receipts, promising gold, handed to borrowers. As long as everyone trusted the paper, those new notes spent exactly like real money. The goldsmith was now, in effect, creating money out of thin air, backed by gold he didn't have, lent to people who paid him interest for the privilege. He had stumbled onto the secret. And that secret has a name we still use today. It's called fractional reserve banking. The idea that you only need to keep a fraction of the deposits on hand, because not everyone will ask for their money back at the same time. The rest you lend out, over and over, to make a fortune. Those goldsmiths became the first true bankers. And the trick they discovered by accident is the exact same trick your bank runs on you today, just dressed up in glass towers, apps, and friendly advertising. So let's drag it into the present and watch how it works on your money right now. You deposit $1,000 into your bank. In your mind, that $1,000 is now sitting in a digital vault with your name on it, safe and sound, waiting for you. That is the story you've been told your entire life. But that is not what happens. The instant your money lands, the bank is only required to keep a small slice of it on hand to cover day-to-day withdrawals. The rest, the overwhelming majority of it, goes straight back out the door. The bank lends your $1,000 to someone buying a car, someone starting a business, someone taking out a mortgage on a house. And here is the engine, the beating heart of the whole machine. The bank pays you almost nothing to hold your money, maybe a fraction of a percent in interest, sometimes literally zero. But it charges the person it lends your money to a much higher rate. It might pay you 0.5%, while charging the borrower 7%, or 10%, or, on a credit card, more than 20%. That gap, the difference between the pittance they pay you and the fat rate they charge the borrower, has a name. Bankers call it the net interest margin, and it is, quite simply, one of the largest, most reliable profit machines on earth. Your bank is borrowing money from you at rock-bottom prices and selling it to someone else at a premium. The product they're selling? Your own money. And your cut of that deal is the crumbs. Let's make that real with actual numbers, because the scale is what stuns people. Imagine a bank holding $10 billion of its customers' deposits. It pays those customers, say, 0.5%. That's $50 million a year it owes you and everyone like you. Sounds like a lot, until you see the other side. It lends that same $10 billion out at an average of, say, 6%. That's $600 million a year flowing in. Subtract the $50 million it pays out, and the bank just cleared over $500 million on money it never owned, doing nothing but standing in the middle. Now multiply that across the biggest banks on earth, holding not billions, but trillions, and you start to understand why the grandest buildings in almost every city on the planet have a bank's name carved across the top. But it gets better for the bank. Remember the goldsmith who realized he could write more notes than he had gold? Modern banking does a version of that at a scale that's almost impossible to wrap your head around. When a bank makes a loan, it doesn't always hand over a pile of existing cash. In a very real sense, the act of lending itself creates new money in the system. Your $1,000, deposited, lent out, deposited again somewhere else, lent out again, ripples outward, multiplying through the economy, with the bank earning its margin at every single step. Follow your single $1,000 on its journey. You deposit it. The bank keeps a small slice and lends most of it, let's say $900, to someone buying a fridge. That $900 gets paid to the appliance store, which deposits it in ITS Bank. Now that second bank keeps a slice and lends most of that out again to someone else, who spends it, who deposits it. On and on it goes. Your one original $1,000 has now quietly powered a fridge, a car repair, a small loan, and more, appearing in account after account,
counted as money in each one, even though there was only ever one real $1,000 at the start. The deposits stack up across the whole banking system to many times the original cash. This is how a relatively small amount of real money balloons into the vast ocean of numbers we all live inside. And the banks sit at every junction of that river, collecting. This is why banks are fundamentally unlike any other business. A factory has to buy materials, build a product, and sell it before it sees a profit. A bank's raw material is trust. Your trust. The simple, unspoken belief that your money is there and that you can get it whenever you want. As long as that trust holds, the machine prints money. Quietly. Endlessly. Mostly for them. Now, you're probably feeling something right about now. A flicker of unease. Because if the bank is constantly lending out almost everyone's money, then the money isn't actually all there, is it? If you and everyone else walked in tomorrow and demanded your cash back at the very same moment, what would happen? Hold that thought, because it's the single most dangerous question in all of finance, and it's the dark twin of this entire system. You see, the whole machine depends on one fragile assumption, that we will never all ask for our money back at the same time. On a normal day, a tiny fraction of people withdraw, a tiny fraction deposit, and it all balances out. The illusion holds perfectly. But on the day that people get scared, really scared, and they all rush to pull their money out at once, the bank simply cannot pay. Because the money isn't sitting in the vault. It's out in the world, in someone's house, someone's car, someone's business. It physically cannot all come back at once. That terrifying event has a name. It's called a bank run. And it is the one thing that can vaporize even a seemingly healthy bank in a matter of days. It's the same fatal flaw the Goldsmiths quietly created centuries ago, still buried at the very heart of the system today. When trust evaporates, the machine doesn't slow down, it detonates. And if you think this is just dusty history, that bank runs are a thing of old black and white photographs with crowds lining up outside marble doors, let me tell you what happened in 2023. There was a large American bank, a giant, trusted by some of the most sophisticated companies in the world. And it had done exactly what every bank does. It took its customers' deposits and put that money to work, parking huge amounts of it in investments it believed were safe. But then, conditions shifted, those investments lost value on paper, and a few worried voices began to whisper that the bank might not have enough cash on hand if everyone came calling. That whisper was all it took. But this time, there were no crowds on the sidewalk, because in the modern world, you don't have to run to the bank. The bank is in your pocket. Word spread across group chats and social media in minutes, and customers began yanking their money out from their phones, not over weeks, not over days, but in hours. In a single day, customers tried to pull out tens of billions of dollars. Tap, tap, gone. Tap, tap, gone. Multiplied by thousands of terrified depositors, all at once. The money, of course, wasn't sitting in a vault waiting. It was out in the world, exactly as the system intends. And so the bank, a giant that had stood for decades, collapsed in a matter of days. Regulators swooped in and shut it down. It became one of the largest bank failures in the history of the country. The exact same flaw the Goldsmith quietly created 500 years ago had just brought down a modern titan at the speed of a smartphone. The technology had changed. The trap had not. This is exactly why government stepped in. To keep the whole system from collapsing every time people got nervous, many countries created deposit insurance, a government promise that even if your bank fails, your savings, up to a certain limit, are protected. It's a safety net stretched beneath the entire trick, designed to keep you calm, so you never feel the need to run. And it mostly works, most of the time. Until, every so often, in some corner of the world, it doesn't, and a bank vanishes overnight, taking the illusion down with it. So step back and look at the full picture. The bank takes your money, it pays you almost nothing for it, it lends it out at far higher rates and pockets the difference. It uses your trust to multiply that money through the economy.
And it does all of this with cash that, on any given day, mostly isn't even there. This is not a scandal, it's the system, working exactly as designed. The question is simply whether you're going to keep playing it half asleep or with your eyes finally open.
So let's turn all of this into lessons you can actually use. Because understanding the machine is how you stop being just a battery that powers it. Lesson 1. Your savings account is quietly losing you money. And here's the part most people miss. It's not just that the bank pays you a pittance. It's that this pittance is almost always lower than inflation, the rate at which prices rise and your money loses its buying power. So if your bank pays you 0.5%, but prices are rising by 3%, your money is actually shrinking in real value every single year it sits there. You feel safe. You're slowly getting poorer. Letting large amounts of cash sit idle in a basic account is one of the most common, most invisible money mistakes there is. Lesson 2. Make the bank compete for you. For decades, people picked one bank as a teenager and stayed loyal for life, accepting whatever scraps of interest they were given. That loyalty is worth nothing to the bank and costs you plenty. There are accounts, high-yield savings accounts, certain government-backed options, and others that pay dramatically more than the near-zero rate of a standard account. The money is the same. The interest can be many times higher. The bank is betting you're too busy or too loyal to ever go looking. Prove it wrong. Lesson 3. Understand which side of the margin you're on. This is the big one. In the bank's machine, there are only two seats. You can be the depositor, the one lending money to the bank for almost nothing, or you can learn to be the one who earns the higher returns the bank is capturing. The entire game of building wealth, in a sense, is about slowly moving from the first seat toward the second, putting your money to work the way the bank puts your money to work, instead of letting it sit as cheap fuel for someone else's profit. You don't have to become a banker to do it. You simply have to stop treating your bank account as the final destination for your money and start treating it as a waiting room. Money that sits in the waiting room too long is money you volunteered to lend to the bank for almost nothing. The wealthy keep just enough in that waiting room to feel safe, and they keep the rest moving, working, on the side of the margin that grows instead of the side that shrinks. And the deepest lesson of all, the one that ties the Goldsmith to your banking app 500 years later. The most powerful players in finance rarely get rich with their own money. They get rich by using other people's money, safely, cleverly, at scale. The goldsmith got rich on his depositor's gold. The bank gets rich on your deposits. Once you truly understand that, you stop seeing your bank as a safe little box where money sleeps, and you start seeing it for what it really is. A business, running a centuries-old machine in which you have quietly been cast as the cheapest supplier. You are not the customer in this relationship, not really. You are the supply. The depositor is the quiet, patient source of the cheapest money the bank will ever get its hands on. There's nothing evil about it. The system genuinely keeps your money safe, lets you pay your bills, and oils the entire economy. But never again confuse safe with smart. Safe is the box. Smart is knowing what the box is really doing while you sleep. The good news? The moment you understand the machine, you get to decide how you play it. So the next time you check your balance and see that comforting little number sitting there, remember the truth. That money isn't sleeping. It's out there working hard, around the clock, making someone rich. The only real question is whether that someone is going to be you or them. If this opened your eyes today, you already know what to do. And stick around because next time, we're pulling back the curtain on the slot machine and the chilling, scientific way casinos are engineered to keep you sitting there, hypnotized, losing money you swore you'd never spend. It's not luck, it's design. And once you see how it works, you'll never look at a casino floor the same way again.